It is 6 p.m. Okay. Just it's 6 p.m. and we will begin this committee of the whole on Monday, December the 1st. And we will start with our land acknowledgement. With gratitude, the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands acknowledges that these lands and waters are traditional territory of the Algonquin, Mississaugas, Mohawk, and Huron-Wendat. To recognize the role that the township must play in truth and reconciliation, we also acknowledge the displacement of these peoples. Additionally, the township would like to respectfully acknowledge the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who also call this place home. We make this land acknowledgement to honor the Indigenous ancestors who have stewarded these lands and waters since time immemorial. On to number 3 of our agenda, which is the adoption of the agenda. Motion comes forward from Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that the agenda be adopted as circulated. Any comments or questions in regards to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Does anybody have an interest to declare? I have no hands up. So number 5 is closed session, and we have none this evening. We'll move on to delegations, and this evening we have Martha and Jack Harvey, who are here to present and discuss pickleball in Jonas Street Park and Kendricks Park. So if you could please come forward.
Okay. Hello, Madam Mayor, councillors, and township staff. I'm Martha Harvey. I'm from Lyndhurst, and I am here to speak about 2 objectives that I have, and I'm to talk to you about with regard to pickleball. First, pickleball lines should be painted on Jonas Street Park basketball court in Lyndhurst this spring. And number 2, option 2 from the recreation report should be chosen with regard to the Kendricks Park upgrade. The outline of my talk is I'm going to tell you about the sport of pickleball. I'm going to tell you why pickleball lines should be painted on the basketball court at Jonas Street Park in Lyndhurst. Then I'll discuss the noise concern regarding the sport. Then I'll discuss the importance of moving forward in a timely manner with option 2 from the recreation report for Kendricks Park upgrade. Pickleball. It's a popular sport throughout North America. It's relatively easy on the body. It's easy to learn how to play. It provides good physical workout. All ages can play, young children to older adults. And it's a social game, both while playing and after playing, when the players often gather to socialize. Now, why pickleball lines should be on the Jonas Street Park basketball court? For all of the previously mentioned reasons, it would be positive to have pickleball in Lyndhurst. If the Jonas Street Park basketball court doubled as a pickleball court, the residents of Lyndhurst could walk to the park and play the game. This is both convenient and more environmentally friendly than driving to a court. The equipment, the paddles, the balls, and a portable net can be borrowed from the Lyndhurst Library, and therefore the game is free to the community. Pickleball is an inexpensive activity for the township to put in place on the Jonas Street Park basketball court. The court is 40 feet by 60 feet. The concrete pad just needs pickleball lines to be painted on the court, but in a different color than the basketball lines. The pickleball lines could be painted this spring, and it's a very quick way to positively enhance the community of Lyndhurst. Lansdowne and Sealy's Bay have pickleball courts, and having access to a court in Lyndhurst makes the activity available in more communities within the township. Now, the noise concern. Noise is made when a pickleball hits a paddle, and some people are concerned about this noise. But before I tell you how the noise concern can be addressed, I would like to relate 2 hypothetical scenarios that will help to make the points that I have regarding the noise more meaningful. Now, I will relate to these scenarios regarding myself, but they could easily apply to any member of the Linters community. So pretend that the pickleball lines have been painted on the basketball court in Jonas Street Park. It's a Sunday afternoon, and I say to my husband, let's have a game of pickleball. He agrees. Then I say, oh no, can't. It's Sunday. The library is closed. We can't get the net. We'll have to wait until tomorrow when we can borrow the net. And unless someone else has previously borrowed the net, no pickleball will be played that day. There will be, excuse me, no noise on the pickleball court. Monday afternoon comes along, my husband and I, we walk up to the library, we borrow the pickleball net. We walk across the road from the library to Jonas Street Park and we put the net together. It takes 10, maybe 15 minutes if you haven't done it before. We begin our game. We have a few good rallies. We also miss the ball a lot and we have to chase it. We laugh. We praise each other for our good shots that we make, and then we lament our missed shots. After about an hour, we call it quits. We decide not to keep the net for the week that we are allowed, and we return it to the library. We go for an ice cream cone at the post, and we had fun. And unless someone else borrows the net, no one else will be playing pickleball on that court. There will be no noise. Hypothetical scenario number 2. My adult children are coming home for the weekend. I want to think of some fun activities for us to do when they come. I think pickleball. I go to the library on Friday. I borrow the net. I will keep it for several days. And while I have that net, no one else is playing pickleball on that court. There's no noise. My kids walk to the court on Saturday. They set up the net. They play the game for about an hour. They have a good time, and they bring the net back to my house. There will be no noise on the pickleball court until I return the net and someone else decides to borrow it. Now, these scenarios are not exclusive to my family. The similar scenarios would be applied to other households in Lyndhurst. So now I'll tell you the reasons how noise can be addressed. Lyndhurst is a small community. Realistically, pickleball would not be played non-stop, especially when effort is required to set up and take down the portable net, and the library is not open daily for the portable net to be borrowed. There's only one court, so any noise created is much, I could say that 6 times, less than would be the case where there are numerous pickleball courts in one space with each court having a permanent net. That's where people come, you want to play pickleball, the net's there, the court's there, you just walk on, you play the game, and there's lots of courts. There's noise, not here. A schedule could be posted to identify hours when the game could be played. There would likely be a healthy amount of laughter and ball chasing mixed in with the ball hitting, i.e., ball hitting would not be a constant in the game. Jonas Street Park is a playground, and some playground noise is to be expected. Now, I'm going to deviate from Jonas Street Park for a moment, but still on the pickleball theme and in the Lyndhurst area, and talk about Kendricks Park and pickleball. In addition to having pickleball court in Jonas Street Park, it would be wonderful to have a dedicated pickleball court in Kendricks Park, i.e., where the net is always in place. The Jonas Street Park court would service those who cannot travel to Kendricks Park. The dedicated pickleball courts in Kendricks Park would benefit those who are in Lyndhurst area, but who do not want to or who are unable to put up and take down the portable net. Option 2 in the recreation report here allows for 2 pickleball courts to be built in Kendricks Park. Option 1 does not mention building any pickleball courts. Please choose option 2 on page 16 of the recreation report. All areas of the township would be serviced with dedicated pickleball courts if option 2 of the recreation report is chosen. The recreation report suggests that Kendricks Park would be upgraded in 5 to 10 years. It would be wonderful if the Kendricks Park upgrade could be sooner than later. And maybe the park upgrades could be done in stages with pickleball courts put into stage 1. So in conclusion, number 1, pickleball lines should be painted on the Jonas Street Park basketball court this spring. Number 2, providing Linters with a pickleball court in a timely fashion is very inexpensive. It's a can of paint. Number 3, pickleball provides an opportunity for some people to experience the sport. Number 4, playing the game of pickleball helps with community spirit, exercise, and socialization for all ages, young to older. Number 5, Jonas Street Park is easily accessible to the people in Lyndhurst. Number 6, the township would have pickleball available in Lyndhurst, Lansdowne, and Sealy's Bay in a timely manner if pickleball lines were painted on the Jonas Street Park basketball court. Number 7, noise from the game on the Jonas Street Park court would be minimal. Number 8, Lyndhurst is a very small community. Realistically, many people would not use a pickleball court in Jonas Street Park, but some people would. Having a single pickleball court in Jonas Street Park is like having a canoe dock or swing sets or a swim ladder or a basketball court or the public dock on Lyndhurst Lake or the bicycle equipment that is in Furnace Falls Park. These amenities are not in constant use, but they are used, and they are all very much appreciated when they are used. These amenities enhance the community for its residents, for visitors, and for the township. And so would having a pickleball court in Jonas Street Park. And lastly, please choose option 2 when upgrading Kendricks Park. The pickleball courts in Kendricks Park should be built sooner than later. Sandra.
Thank you for your presentation. Do any of the council members have any questions for the presenter? Go ahead, Councillor Maybe, and then Deputy Mayor Fody, and then I think I have Councillor Antoine Hartley. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, I have a few things to kind of ponder here. Is there any data to the usage of the basketball court in Jonas Park?
No, I have no. Oh, sorry. I have no data on that, other than I haven't seen a lot of people using it. So I know that I have seen skateboards up there, but I haven't seen kids playing on it. I know they have played on it. My daughter was one when she was at home, and she and her friends went up, but I haven't seen a lot of usage. No.
Okay, thank you. That's one. And this one might be to the Director of Operations, is the cost of lines that possibly could be painted on a surface, since we had something similar to this, and what the condition of that court is.
Through you, Your Worship, the court's in decent shape. There are some cracks in it, but nothing that's insurmountable. Cost of lines, I would estimate $200 to $300 likely to get that completed. So it's fairly cost effective as well too.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And again, to have participation, to coin a phrase which is always out there, it's great to hear that having that much activity, and as pickleball is picking up speed across our nation, it would be a good thing to do. And decibel levels, the paddle is fairly hard, and the ball, I've never really actually seen a pickleball unless you've got one with you. What type of ball is it?
It's a wiffle ball. Peter, may I see your?
I knew somebody would.
Because he plays pickleball.
Yep.
So this is a wiffle ball, and a pickleball is like this, but it's the size, it's about
Yes.
like that.
And they're hard.
Yeah.
That
They
size.
are hard.
A baseball, a small baseball, or a fastball, I think it
Right.
is. Would that be correct? A fastball? And it's, well, I've seen them be yellow anyway. And then when paddle hits the ball, there is a sound, and that's, I think it's more annoying to people than a tennis ball hitting. But the thing is, with linters, it's one court.
Right.
One court sometimes, whereas I can see if you have 6 courts and the net is always there and it's summertime and you've got 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night and somebody is always on one of those
Right.
courts, if not many, then you've got constant noise. This isn't going to be constant. This is going to be sometimes. And as I said, the amenities it won't be used all the time, like constantly, but it will be used.
Yeah.
And it's just available for the community. I don't think it'll be something that people will become annoyed with. I truly don't think it would be.
No, thank you very much for that explanation. I appreciate it very much. That's it for me.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. Has there been anticipated complaints on the noise? Like, have you heard other people?
No, the only person I heard through was through David Holiday here.
Okay. Because myself, I've stopped, I've watched, I drive by with the window down over here at Lansdowne, multiple courts on the move. Noise isn't something that attracts me at all.
Yeah, I heard it through David, that was the reason that I needed to present and state this case. So maybe David can answer.
I
It's-
believe that the director didn't come up with that on his own, so I'll let him answer that.
Thank you, through your worship. So through the survey that we put out, we did receive more feedback opposing pickleball than we did requesting it at that location. And it seemed to be more the neighbors around the surrounding area adjacent to the park that had concern with it. That's what we gathered from the survey.
My understanding, David, or Mr. Holiday, is it 3 people said no and 2 people said yes?
I'm sorry, I don't.
How many
have that
people,
information.
excuse me, but how many people
So-
were against pickleball and how many people were for?
Ms. Harvey,
Am I, sorry?
sorry, this isn't a debate back and forth. This
Oh,
is a delegation.
Oh,
So I've asked him to answer the question, and then
Oh,
if you'd like
okay.
to.
sorry. All
Sorry.
right.
So there is a way for you to delineate how many people. You just don't have that in front of you right now.
That is correct.
Thank you. Okay, so we can get that information. I'll let you continue on, Deputy Mayor.
Well, I find it ironic that you got people opposed to it when they haven't even heard it. I mean, that would be typical.
That's not me.
No, I'm not saying yourself, but I'm saying it'd be typical when somebody comes up with an idea, there'd be people opposed to something never heard. I would be surprised if the noise of a pickleball court would be out of a audio level that would actually matter, but that's neither here nor there. And you had made ample examples of the fact you're not playing between midnight and 6 a.m. and things like that. I'm being a little sarcastic, I know. But no, thanks for the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to reiterate the inclusivity of the pickleball in the village itself. And I understand that it's in the works to have something at Kendrick's, but in the meantime, and as you've said, there will not be a permanent net up, and the rental of it will be from the
Free.
library, and so meaning you have to be there when the library's open, right?
Yes,
to
yes,
rent it?
and no to that. Yes, you have to get the net when the library's open, but you're allowed to borrow it for a week.
Yeah.
So if you knew you wanted to have it on a Thursday and the library's closed, then you would borrow it on a Wednesday. But you're right, it's not there. If you can't, it's not spur of the moment unless the library is open.
So, yeah, so I think, I personally think that having the lines there would be very great. It would be good for people who don't drive, people who want to exercise, etc., to have that kind of and it's just lines, for now.
Mhm.
And with Kendricks being down the road
Yeah.
in a few years.
Yeah, that's the thing. Kendricks is, the report said 5 to 10 years. That's a long time.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Counselor Lackey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to the director. What would prevent, I mean, if we put the lines on, it's a township park, it's a public park. What prevents someone from going and buying a duffel bag just like that one, showing up to the park and putting their own net up and playing to their heart's content?
Through your worship, absolutely nothing.
Okay, any other questions from members of council? Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Harvey, and we appreciate the delegation, and we will be going into budget discussions here in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we'll have a better idea of what the plans are going forward for 2026.
Thank you. So do we stay or do we leave?
You're welcome to stay. We
But-
have other things on the
Yeah,
agenda, but
this is done.
yeah, so the delegation is received, and then unless there's a motion made by any of the members of the council, which could be made, not tonight, it has to be a notice of motion, which has to go through the clerk, which it would be on a subsequent meeting date.
Okay, well, thanks very much, everybody.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have next item on the agenda is briefings from Cataraqui Conservation Authority, David Ellingwood, who's here and joins us this evening. Come on forward and we'll get you set up on the screen.
There you go. There you go.
Thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Your Worship. So, thank you, members of council, for inviting me to present some information about Cataraqui Conservation's 2026 draft budget. This evening I'll go over our budget, and I've also put a few slides at the tail end for some important legislative changes that have recently been proposed for conservation authorities across the province. For our budget, as usual, we try to maintain all the programs and services that we have on the go, and there's a few other items noted there. At the bottom, you'll see that our budget vote is December 3rd, so that comes up on Wednesday for our final budget vote. Under the Conservation Authorities Act, we do have agreements with our member municipalities for certain services. Category 1 services are kind of mandatory ones, ones that address provincial responsibilities, things like drinking water source protection and plan review, flood forecasting, warning, that sort of thing. Under Category 2, we help a couple of municipalities operate their water control structures. And under Category 3 are locally supported services for things like education, public programming, and land stewardship. To the numbers quickly here, our draft budget is $6.9 million for 2026. We do have quite a bit that's internal recovery, so kind of our net amount, if you will, is around $5.5 million. As a total for the municipal apportionments this year, it works out to a 4.64% increase overall. And I'll show you the specific numbers for your township in a moment here. We do have 1% that's helping us to phase in our new administration facility lease costs, and also 1% that's phasing in a permanent staff position in development review department. And those are part of the 4.6%. Expenses are up just 1.3% year over year this year. So on the graph, we're showing the different proportions. As you can see, municipalities pay half of the budget. If you're looking at the net budget, municipalities are paying about 60% of our budget. And the small brown slice there is the province. It works out to about 4.5% of our net budget. We do have fees that help out for things like development review, and our public programming, our nature events contribute towards that. And the other category, that's things like grants that we get. We've been successful at things like Phragmites control and other types of grants like that, as well as donations that contribute to that. And then when we look at the total budget that we are looking at from our municipal partners, these are apportioned based on current value assessment. The M&R provides that information to us. So it can fluctuate a little bit from year to year, but usually it's no more than 0.02 or 3 for any one municipality changing year over year, depending on your growth rate. So for Leeds and Thousand Islands, we'll kind of focus on the totals at the bottom there. So total $10,750 increase in our apportionment request for 2026. Works out to 5.77%. But then above that, it kind of breaks it down what those changes are coming from. Firstly, there's the category 1, just the mandatory programs. That's at 3.7%. The larger one in the middle there, you'll see 75% is for water control structures special levy. That's $4,500. And that one in particular, the township contributes towards 2 water control structures and shares that with a few other municipalities. So for those, we're looking at about 4 capital projects that are coming up in the next couple of years. And the reserve funds need to be brought up so that there's enough funds to meet those project requirements. So that's essentially what you're seeing there as that increase of $4,500 for 2026. So within your special apportionments, you support the specific properties like the outlet boat ramp, the 2 water control structures as mentioned there, Temperance Lake and Marsh Lake. You have 30% share of the cost for those. And then you also have your category 3 agreement for local programs like education and stewardship and watershed planning. There's a slide here for the forecast of upcoming expenses. You'll see for 2026, there's that larger increase at the bottom there for special apportionment. You'll note that is more of a one-time thing, and it drops off dramatically in the next 3 fiscal years following. So capital, we try to fully forecast as much of it as we can using reserves and building those reserves so that they're ready when the time comes. We do have some of our larger recreational assets that are struggling to find enough capital to look at significant repairs that are coming up. So those ones, we're looking at external grants to help along with those ones. So that's the 2026 budget and what that means for the township. In the last few minutes here, I'll just look at some of the proposed changes to conservation authorities that are rather significant. So Bill 68, Schedule 3, it's past 3rd reading now, so it's come into law. This will establish a new provincial conservation agency. The agency is going to have oversight and strategic direction for conservation authorities in the province. It'll be 5 to 12 members appointed by the minister. It can give directives to conservation authorities, and its primary goals are to reduce the number of municipalities that have more than one conservation authority. So where there's kind of overlap, naturally where there's watersheds, water goes 2 ways, and a municipality might get split between 2 conservation authorities. They're looking to have more consistency in the development review policies and the fees that we charge, and they like to have one digital permit system across the province. So here's just a few facts about cataract conservation. We do have timely permit approvals. We meet the provincial targets in 99% of our development permits, and we average about 5 business days to provide a permit. Once we have a complete application, it's 5 days for the proponent to get their permit and letter approved. For municipalities, when we're doing plan review, we're meeting the targets that you've set 90% of the time. Cataraqui Conservation has among the lowest fee schedules in the province because we are a lean organization, and our municipalities in their governance of us have helped us to find a good balance for fees that are affordable for the development community. We have a high standard of customer service. On our board, each municipality is represented on our board. There's 11 member municipalities and 17 representatives. We keep up to date on our floodplain mapping. We've recently completed the St. Lawrence River, but we are mindful of local finances. So the Gananoque system could use new mapping, but because you recently contributed significantly to the St. Lawrence one, that would be something we might put off for a little bit because we know that we can't draw that kind of capital very often. And we also have a 60-year history with strong ties to local groups and communities. So the proposal that they have is to actually consolidate the 36 conservation authorities in the province down to 7. So on the map, you have Toronto is the central Lake Ontario. Around the Golden Horseshoe, you have one. Lake Erie runs from almost Collingwood all the way down to Windsor. And Lake Huron includes places from Grand Bend to Barrie up to Thunder Bay. So rather large. Our area is known as the St. Lawrence Regional Conservation Authority, and it would combine Cataraqui, Mississippi, Rideau, South Nation, and Raisin River all into one, an area of about 18,000 square kilometers. So there's the map there running from near Napanee, almost to Arnprior, and out to the Quebec border. There's 46 municipalities in there. Board-wise, there's over 70 representatives on those 5 boards. If you combine them all and go with the Conservation Authorities Act formula, there'd still be over 70 representatives. Clearly, that's too big. And one thing that you'll likely see if this comes along is that local representation will be drastically cut. You can't have a functional board with over 70 members. It would maybe 20, and you'd have to have some type of local or county-wide representation on that board. So this proposal is currently on the Environmental Registry. The number for it is up there. There's a comment period open until December 22nd, and they're looking at 5 principal things. This is assuming it's going forward, is what would make for a successful transition? What are some of the opportunities or benefits from having these regions? What would the governance structure look like? How can we have transparent and consultative budgeting? And how do we maintain the strong relationships that currently exist? So all interesting questions. Some of them are maybe a little hard to do on a very big regional scale, such as that. But that's about as much information as there is. They're really looking for input, and a lot of the details and how this would actually happen would need to be worked out once this new agency is set up. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for delegation. I believe the consultation, it's this week in Ottawa, isn't it? Yeah, we're just trying to look up the date. So questions. I had one from Councillor Maybe and then Deputy Mayor Fody. I'm not sure if anybody on this side. So go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And through you, I have a couple questions. The first one is, why is there no federal money to the agency? You know, it's out of your pie chart that there's no federal money.
Okay, to your worship. So federal money only comes when we get grants. So that would be either an employment grant. Sometimes there's grants we might get for climate change, that sort of thing. We are partnering with South Nation and a bunch of Eastern conservation authorities. So with a federal grant that's offered to landowners for trees and shrub planting and wetland creation. That doesn't show up on ours because the money's gone to South Nation.
As a follow-up, but the federal government doesn't give you a yearly amount and never have, or?
That's correct. Yeah, there's never been
Unfortunate.
federal contribution.
That's unfortunate. Second question was, with the new structure that you have here for the St. Lawrence Regional Conservation Authority, which will end up being possibly the Homes Quicker bill that was actually put in place there a couple of years ago, how's that affected? Or is it?
Thank you. Through your worship. Yeah, so the more homes built faster, or there's been a few of them. It hasn't significantly changed. Some things in, say, the types of permits for minor projects, people don't need to get those, but that really hasn't made a change in the number of permits. It's still fairly active development-wise in our region.
Just as a follow-up, with that bill, it actually decreased some of your power. And I wondered if you are getting any more of that back with this new region that you're having.
Okay, through your worship. Yeah, so one of the things that it took away was the natural heritage review from conservation authorities. Yeah, I don't think we're getting that back. And it was a political decision, not for us, not just that we wouldn't do it, but that municipalities cannot have conservation authorities do it. And anecdotally, it may be causing longer delays and double study expenses for proponents.
Okay, thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. On this new proposed structure, I assume that the province in their wisdom is looking at cutting staff significantly as well. And if so, how do we maintain the good relationship your organization has, Cataraqui, with our staff here in the planning department? As you had indicated, turnaround time is 5 days. It would be nightmarish to think what would happen if they intend to run 10 or 15 staff members to cover a whole region. What were your thoughts on that? What would your thoughts be on that?
Thank you. Through your worship. So the minister in his announcement said that there would be no job reductions. And as a follow-up, it was also indicated in one of the sessions that the province would not dictate any closure of local offices. So if those are both factual statements, then that would be good. And if it can be left to the region on, if there's a new region, you're adding some bureaucracy up there. But to actually function, you can't operate your conservation properties from afar. You need a local base to do that. If you're doing development review, having basically the number of offices that there would be now is probably the most efficient, because right now our staff can travel an hour either way to get there. It would be the same with the other ones. So it's already a fairly efficient structure that way in terms of travel. And then the local knowledge. We assign planners specifically to each of our municipalities, so they develop an even stronger rapport with your municipal staff and have a really good knowledge of what's going on in each community.
Well, that's encouraging. I'm glad to know that they've at least stated they don't intend to cut staff and thus spread the workload out to a larger jurisdiction, which would be questionable to get the same service. That's encouraging, because when you read something like what the province has in mind here, it's the old adage, the government's here to help. That's enough to scare most people. But we'll hope for the best, and hopefully we can maintain the good relationship that our staff has with your office now. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have no other hands up. So thank you very much for your presentation. And I guess our board meeting is on December 11th, the next one, I believe.
It's on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Wednesday the 3rd.
Oh, Wednesday, but there's a secondary meeting as well. We have on the 11th.
Uh,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was thinking about that. Because we're trying to squeeze it all in before the end of December. So we appreciate your time and attention to the budget. We know it's difficult times when there's so much more to do. It will be interesting to see how the consultation process goes in the meantime. So. Okay, next item on the agenda is public meeting, and the motion is moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that the public meeting be called to order at 6:40 p.m. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. So we are now in the public meeting portion of the Committee of the Whole. And we are going to the zoning bylaw amendment 7 Bulls Island. So if you have anything to discuss at this point, I will turn to the planning staff. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The subject of this public meeting is a proposed zoning bylaw amendment for the property municipally known as 7 Bulls Island. The property is approximately 0.4 hectares and contains an existing dwelling with attached uncovered decking, a storage shed, and 2 docks. The zone change is proposed for the site to change the zoning from an island residential zone to a special exception island residential zone, and that would facilitate zoning relief for a proposed 46.7 square meter sleeping cabin with attached covered decking, as well as a detached sauna and some additional decking attached to the primary dwelling. So this is the proposed plot plan showing the proposed sleeping cabin and the sauna. And then there's additional decking that was constructed in 2021 in the absence of municipal and agency approvals. That's proposed to be folded into this zoning bylaw amendment. With respect to notice, staff can confirm that notice of this public meeting was provided in accordance with the Planning Act. And to date, staff received 1 email with some questions for clarification on the details of the proposal. And staff did respond to provide that clarification and additional links for the resident to access the supporting information for the application. I believe the applicant is online this evening, and staff as well would be available to address any questions of the public or the Committee of the Whole. Thank you.
So we'll go to council questions. If anybody has a question in regards to this application, if you could please raise your hand. And we'll also ask that anyone online that is here to have any questions answered online, please use the raise your hand function, and then we'll get to you after we have got through council questions. So I'll give everybody a minute. Deputy Mayor Foti, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. This small allotment of land has a lot of activity going on it. Can I ask what brought this about? Has there been a change of ownership in the property?
Through you, Madam Mayor, not to my knowledge, staff have been working with the applicant for some time through the pre-consultation process and application submission and review leading up to this meeting this evening.
So it would be assumed that there was some non-compliancy that was noticed by staff from the water that brought this to light. Is that what we're expecting here?
This is a brand new build, or it's an existing structure coming into compliance?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the proposal came forward. The applicant was interested in constructing a sleeping cabin on the property, and staff did complete a site visit with the property owner, and through a walk around of the property, it was discussed that there was additional decking that was constructed in 2021. So that's the extent of the existing construction on the property that is proposed to be recognized through this application. The remainder of the construction has yet to occur, including the sleeping cabin.
So the sleeping cabin does not exist at this point, but when they were there, they found some other stuff that had happened without permitting. So, but as you just mentioned, this is to wrap everything up in a bow, if you will, and allow for the sleeping cabin to be constructed should this pass. Well, this is the public meeting. Nothing's going to pass here. This is for information. So any further comments or discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, the high water mark is well out of the range of this particular build with the rock face that they have on this. So I think it's a great place to have. And with the photos that were provided, it indicated quite a great view of the river and to enjoy. So I think it's a appropriate ask.
Okay. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll put them, there's nothing online. I just thought I'd double check. There's no hands up. Okay. So with that, we'll put the motion forward to that the public meeting be closed. Motion is made by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. So we are back in the regularly scheduled committee of the whole meeting, and we're on number 9, staff reports, which is the public meeting item we just discussed, zoning bylaw amendment application D13. So the zoning bylaw amendment application D13 2025-001 civic address 7 Bulls Island, and the motion comes forward from Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that the committee of the whole recommends that council approve zoning bylaw amendment application D14 2025-001 for the property municipally known as 7 Bulls Island to amend the existing island residential RI zone of the property to an island residential special exception 39 RI-39 zone, and that the committee of the whole recommends that council further amend bylaw number 07-079, zoning bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands as amended as per Exhibit F, draft bylaw and Schedule A, to report number 2025-086, and that the committee of the whole recommends that council grant 3 readings and final passage to the amending bylaw. It's a lot. So go ahead, Madam Planner.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Just staff wanted to mention that the bylaw has been updated today. The applicant did request zoning relief for the maximum height of the sleeping cabin. The zoning bylaw permits a maximum height of 5 meters, and the application did request a maximum height of 5.4. And so the bylaw has been updated to reflect that.
Thank you for that clarity. Any further comments or questions in regard to this item? Go ahead, Councillor Lackey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I apologize. I was hoping I should have asked it earlier while the gentleman from CRCA was here. When they talk about high water mark, how can they justify that when it's controlled by dam?
Yeah, we should have asked that question when he was here.
I mean, it's control. If the water's high, you open the dam. It's damn hard to figure it out. Anyway, just a
There's
question
no
for
swearing at this
someday.
council table.
It's
But
just-
the
it's just
same
one
could
of
be
those
said.
things to go with wave up brush as well. It's just a
Fair enough.
stupid
And the
thing.
same challenge, obviously, is something that we are faced with on the St. Lawrence River, which is also, yes. But the people downstream really get upset if you open it full force. No, we haven't. Okay. Matter at hand. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I have a lot of questions about this property, but what I do have is a lot of faith in our staff. I know that they know the rules better than I, and they know what they're looking for before and after. So I will step down about a lot of things I would like to say about this application and put it in the hands of those that know. So thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Okay, so we have the applicant with their hand up. We have Michael Clancy. So I'll recognize Michael in order to, we're just getting the clerk to unmute you, so just bear with us a few seconds. Okay, there we go, and you're unmuted. You're ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and council members. I just wanted to answer a couple of questions that were raised. First, my wife and I purchased the cottage 23 years ago. We then proceeded to have 6 children. So the purpose of the sleeping cabin is our original cottage that's still there. It was built in the 1950s. It's a very modest, very small cottage with 2 bedrooms. And so we're literally now just bursting at the seams, especially as our kids get older and come back to the island with, with their significant others. So that's our makeup. With regard to the high watermark question, the sleeping cabin is proposed to be built on the highest location on the island. That location is at least, I'm going to say at least maybe 40 feet from the actual highest level of water that I've seen there in the last 23 years. It's just simply nowhere close to the high water mark at all. It's literally a rock face that is I'm going to say 40 feet from the water. And then finally, as to the additional decking that we constructed in 2021, we did that in COVID. It was the rules were so strict with regard to having people over and distancing that we added a portion to the deck, and that was done just during and for COVID. Again, the cottage itself, including the decking, I appreciate on a map might look like a lot going on, but it's actually exceptionally modest compared to a lot of the cottages that are on the lake, and it wouldn't even come close to cottages that you'd see in on the St. Lawrence. It's just a very modest 1950s build with 2 bedrooms and with some small decking around the outside. It is an island. It's 1 acre, just over an acre. We're the only cottage on the island, and it's proved to be a great place for our family, and we would be exceptionally grateful to the committee if it permits these exceptions to the zoning bylaw. And we're very grateful to the staff of both the township and the Conservation Authority for all of their help and guidance throughout this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've heard from council and we've heard from the applicant. So seeing no further hands up, I will call the question of the motion that's at hand. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Thank you very much. And we'll move forward with 9.2, supplementary report, zoning bylaw amendment D14-2025-010, application for 439 Thousand Isles Parkway, moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council approve zoning bylaw amendment application D14-2025-010 to rezone the portion of the property municipally known as 439 Thousand Islands Parkway, currently zoned tourist commercial CT zone, to shoreline residential special exception RS-63, zone in Township zoning bylaw number 07-079, and that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council further amend bylaw number 07-079, zoning bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands as amended as per Exhibit A, recommended amending bylaw and Schedule A to report number 2025-087, and that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council grant 3 readings and final passage to the amending bylaw. Motions on the floor, up for discussion. So for the newcomer here, this has already come through a couple of times to council with presentations made by the applicant's agent. And it has been in front of council twice to ask questions, but this is the decision in regards to the request for changing the zoning. So I know you can read, but this has been one that's required a lot of back and forth. So anyways, I just wanted for the public's knowledge that this has come back this is the 3rd time that we're discussing this at the table. So discussion, go ahead. I've got Councillor Lackey and I've got Deputy Mayor Foti.
Thank you, Worship. And through you, I think it's similar to the questions that I had last time. So the property itself, in the beginning stages, it was purchased as shoreline commercial.
Commercial, it's tourist commercial.
Tourist commercial. And we accepted that through all our planning rationale all the way through. And then at the last meeting, were we not told that it was always the intent of the applicant that it was going to be a residential building? That's my first question.
I believe that is what the applicant said at the
believe-
last meeting, if we go back and roll tape, but I'm fairly certain that's what was said. I'll let
So-
the Director of Planning confirm that or not confirm it.
Doesn't matter. We can go back and look because I know that's what was.
Okay,
That was what
That's-
was said
That's what was
through
said.
you. The challenge was they indicated they intended to build residential. However, once they started building residential, once they started building under the existing zoning framework, which is tourist commercial, and building to the commercial standard, they realized it was cost prohibitive to build to the commercial standard for what they indicated would be a residential use, which is why the zoning amendments come forward.
So again, for clarification, they told us in the beginning that they were doing a corporate retreat, which is tourist commercial,
Mhm.
fit under that category.
Correct.
And now we were told that it was always going to be residential, is what we heard last meeting.
Correct.
So I'm a little confused there. I think, whether it was a misunderstanding or I don't know what you want to call it. I know what I would call it, but I'm not going to. My other question to the planner is that zoning, that's a pretty important zoning. How many other vacant lots roughly are out there that have that particular zoning of commercial?
Tourist commercial?
Do we have any available?
I would not be able to tell you the answer.
And what would, to get one zoned? Is that a big process?
Through the special policy area for the Thousand Islands area indicates that tourist commercial uses are permitted south of the parkway on properties adjacent to existing tourist commercial uses. So,
So unless you were
Limited.
beside an existing tourist commercial, you couldn't get
we're currently designated as,
So it's a hard thing to get and virtually almost impossible.
there are limits.
So what we're doing is we're taking a commercially zoned property and we're eliminating that from the potential commercial opportunities that could have existed. Even with their corporate retreat, that may have provided a job or two. It may have done a number of things, but that's only speculation. I think it's the zoning and the fact that, what inspections were done as one zoning versus what inspections would have been done in another zoning. So we're changing halfway through the specifications of things. Is that a problem? So you're gonna have some of this place zoned or built to commercial and some are gonna be built to residential.
Through you, at the last meeting, the applicant indicated that the property has been sitting construction has ceased because they are unsure what standard. They're not building to that commercial standard at this point. So it is sitting, the construction has ceased at this point. From a purely land use perspective, what we need to look at as planners is the land use compatible with the adjacent land uses and what is the most compatible use for the property. So from a land use consideration perspective, the official plan permits both residential and tourist commercial south of the 401 in this area. In terms of challenges and the nature of the construction, that's really a building code issue. So it's not part of the planning considerations.
Right. Thank you.
I have Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. At that last meeting, I think it was a designer representing the owner who made the statement it was beneficial for us to carry on with the current zoning to allow us to build the way we did. And now they've got there, they want to switch back to this. Councillor Lackey's correct. I mean, there's a much less onerous designation on the property should they switch it back. I don't know. I know that there's a number of unanswered questions here. And then once this is approved, then what?
So I'll get to that before I call the question. I have Councillor Kelman and then I have Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I have several questions. The first is along the same lines. So we are told in the staff report that the reason for the request to the zoning change is the prohibitive cost if it were to remain commercial tourism. In the Boulevard Planning Justification Report, it says that CT zoning prohibits principal residential use. And that's under the zoning relief justification. So is it to be a principal residence or is it to be a vacation property?
The applicant has indicated that it's to be a residential property and that the primary use of the property subject to the zoning amendment would be residential.
Okay, but that doesn't mean it will be their prime residence. We don't know that.
We don't know that and we can't regulate that.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, what is the reason for the change in the zoning? Is it because of the cost or is it because it can't be used as a principal residence if they don't get the zoning change?
Through you, just for clarification, the tourist commercial zoning allows a tourist commercial use and an accessory dwelling unit. So the residential use could not be the primary use of the property under the tourist commercial zoning. The primary use of the property would need to be a tourist commercial use.
Okay.
And then the residential use is only accessory to that tourist commercial use.
So the context of primary residence being used here is different than the context than what she just said.
But if the zoning change amendment is not granted, would they be able to live there?
If the tourist commercial zoning remains on the property as it is, the residential use on the property would be required to be accessory to a tourist commercial use.
Thank you. Do we know what, if it is the cost prohibitive factor, do we know what the cost is that they're talking about? What, do they have a ballpark figure of what this prohibitive cost would be?
Well, fire suppression was one of them, I believe. And that in a commercial use is much different than a residential use.
Mhm. I'm just wondering if there's been,
I don't know the cost, but in
Okay.
speaking with the building officials, it has to do with the fire separation. So in a commercial use, when you have units, you have to have fire suppression and dampers between the units. So you have to have fire breaks between them, which is a different level of construction than would be required for a residential use.
and my last question is about the clarification on the cash in lieu of parkland. So it says in the staff report that It's a 2% rate for commercial properties and a 5% rate for residential properties. And so if the zoning amendment was granted, would they have to pay the additional amount, the additional percentage?
No, they wouldn't have to pay the additional percentage because technically as a residential use, it wouldn't necessarily be subject to site plan control. But the 2% was considered an uplift because it had previously been used as the residential use. So putting it subject to site plan control when the commercial use was proposed was subject to the cash in lieu of parkland requirement. The 5% would only apply if a new lot was being created through a consent.
Okay, thank you. I just have a comment, if I may. And I've made this comment before, and I don't know if it's intentional, but when I read the official plans, the township and the county plans, some of the language is ambiguous. And so I don't know if that's intentional to give some leeway to councils or municipalities when they're making these decisions. But for example, if I had to give a land use planning reason for not approving this zoning amendment, it says that under our township official plan, one of the justifications given is that the new buildings being added to the site, so these are the accessory buildings, will assist in preserving and enhancing the aesthetic value of the area. Well, aesthetic value is a very subjective term. So I'm kind of surprised it's in there, but that leaves that open to our interpretation. And for myself, when this was originally presented with these accessory structures, one of which is very large, has a 4-car garage in the bay in the bottom of it. If I looked at that, as Councillor Lackey was saying, as a corporate retreat, I would say, I personally don't find those buildings attractive on our beautiful natural shoreline. And I think that those 3 buildings on that lot are very large, and it doesn't fit into the surrounding landscape. But my mind would say, because it's a corporate retreat, it might bring visitors to our area. It might bring tourist dollars to our area. It might increase the people that are seeing and visiting our area. So the aesthetic value is one thing. When I look at it as a private residence, it completely alters my aesthetic value and evaluation of that property. And I don't think it's appropriate land use. And then there's another part, it says within the justification, under the Planning Act, one of the justifications is that it encourages a sense of place, which again is very ambiguous. And I could argue that I cannot vote in favor of this because I do not think that those buildings in that location encourage a sense of place on the St. Lawrence River in our beautiful township. So those would be my land use justifications for voting against, land use planning reasons for voting against this zoning amendment. I think that the owner and the planners are not our planners, the boulevard have really muddled this by not being clear from the beginning what their intentions were. And I just am very cautious of what's going to happen with this property in the future. And I have one more thing to add, sorry. Some of us were at the recent Economic Development Summit, and there was a lot of talk about energy use. And when I look at those buildings, I'm assuming they're on grid, I'm not sure, but I think about what it's going to cost to heat those buildings. And I wonder how often those buildings are going to be used and by how many people, and what amount of energy is going to be sucked into heating those large buildings, two of which apparently are not going to have people living in them. So I don't know, I don't think under current planning or current plans that that's something we take into consideration. It probably is something we should take into consideration. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I've got Councillor Maybe and then Deputy Mayor Fody. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. One of my things is if this was a residential property right from the get-go, and since it was a brand new build, would there have been a species at risk survey report needed?
I don't think so. Not if it was residential.
Okay.
Madam Planner? I don't. on our residential builds. If it was zoned residential, there would be no species at risk study required, I don't believe.
Thank you. And through you, it's my recollection that there was an environmental impact statement that was prepared.
That was based on
that
the
is
fact that it
file.
was tourist commercial.
It was based on, yes, and the proximity to the wetland.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious on whether, because we've had other reports for lands where residential builds have been put on, and we've had a fairly extensive report for different things, even a tree on one I remember. So I just wondering, whether that's a cost factor from this particular applicant. And then there's other in the report there, fees of $33,750 to $22,750. And I was trying to wrap my head on how that worked.
There's more inspections involved in a building that is commercial, correct? To the point I think that Councillor Lackey made earlier, that we've expended a lot more as far as the building department is concerned, as far as reviewing and
So there's a
and
rebate.
attending. It's not a rebate, I don't believe.
Well, that figure that's being referenced, the 22,750 is site plan control securities that were held
Different.
because it was a subject to site plan control to ensure that the grading and paving were done on the site in accordance with the approved plans.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, there seems to be a light bulb moment. I'm gonna go to Mr. Lackey in regards to that comment, and then I'll go back to Deputy Mayor.
So that check was written to us in the beginning as commercial. So they willingly, knowingly wrote you a check knowing it was going to be a commercial building.
Due to site plan control.
But again, we go back to last week. It was always going to be a residential building. Is that not the quote?
I'm
Anyway,
gonna go back to the Deputy Mayor. Go ahead.
my apologies.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, just to comment to Councillor Kelman. The reason there's confusion between the official plan, our official plan wasn't the only one that was rushed through before the municipal election of 18, but it was. Ours was. It wasn't properly vetted. There was a big push on by those wanting that official plan to be registered, and it is. And I'm sure the planning department knows all about it. I'm going to take my lead from the applicant themselves, much along the lines of Councillor Lackey and Kelman and others who made comments. They made applications that they were going to build knowing it's tourist commercial. That's good enough for me. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna call the question at this point in time, and then I'll reserve my comment till afterwards. All in favor of the motion at hand, please raise your hand. All those opposed? It is unanimously defeated. So my comment will be, as far as rationale, the planner has asked for rationale. So I thank Councillor Kelman for being a bit more concise with her rationale, but I'm going to take the comments made by Councillor Lackey and the other members who've made comments. So I would say that the rationale of the decision of this council to turn this zoning change down is specifically for the fact that this property as tourist commercial is a very extremely hard designation to get in this township. And to be fair, it is surrounded by residential properties, and it has been tourist commercial since before Jeff Lackey was born, which is a long time ago. So, so the point being is that when people are looking to invest in this township and they're looking for specific types of property, especially waterfront, that they can do certain things on, this zoning is extremely valuable. So while I appreciate that these folks sunk money into purchasing a property that was zoned tourist commercial and then have incurred these additional costs, they knew this at the beginning. They applied for building permits knowing this is the case. And now halfway, 3/4 of the way through, they're changing their mind. So as far as the council's decision It's made based on the fact that this tourist designation is important to our municipality. It's important to businesses who want to operate and exist. And as far as them changing their mind halfway through, that's unfortunate. So I would say, do you need further rationale, Madam Planner? Nope. Okay. If there is further rationale required, please have them direct comments back to myself, and we can bring it back to have further discussion. But other than that, the decision has been made this evening. So moving along, so we've got about 15 minutes before an hour and a half ends. We'll see how far we can get. Next item is 9.3, 2026 Council Committee and Conference Schedule, moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council approve the 2026 Council Committee and Conference Schedule and approve the outlined deviations from the procedural bylaw and committee terms of reference. So before you folks, you have the wonderful calendar with all the colored highlights. Thank you, Madam Clerk. There's only one date in here that I would like to draw your special attention to. At this point in time, there is a, the training day, the special training day, which is in February. So it's February 19th, which is the proposed date. That is our offsite training day for all of council that we do. So it's February 19th. Does anybody, it's proposed, it's not locked in stone. Obviously, we haven't passed anything yet. Is that date prohibitive for anyone at this time? It's not to say that if you can't come, that's fine. But we just hope that there's enough time that you can plan in your schedule. That's an important day. Where we go off site with senior managers and get updated from lawyers and all sorts of fun things. The new Councillor Leclerc, will be excited to learn all the fun stuff that we have to do procedurally. So any other comments or questions in regards to the dates that you have before you folks? Go ahead, Councillor or Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Worship. Through you, why do we not have a separate committee of the whole in November?
Because in November, that will be after the election. So there'll just be one. It's too soon. You're talking about swearing in would be.
Okay.
Yeah, so after, through your worship, sorry, after the October 13th date, the municipal election is the 26th. So technically you're in that limbo period where you can't make decisions anymore. Yeah, you're in lame duck. No decisions can be made. The end of the term is the 14th. So if anything crazy, any emergency comes up, you can still deal with things, but we don't have council or committee of the whole meetings. And then that inaugural meeting will be on the 16th, the most closest date after after November 15th, which is when the new term starts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions or comments in regards to the calendar? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. And I can't wait till all the digital invites come in to auto-populate the calendar.
Sorry in advance.
No, I'm quite happy to have it. Just make sure you set up, don't put the email receipt, so otherwise your email box will be full. Next item is 2026 municipal elections, voting equipment and alternative methods. So the motion comes forward from Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Maybe. The Committee of the Whole recommends that Council give the attached bylaw first, second, and third reading and final approval, and that the clerk is authorized to request quotes from companies for the use of vote counting equipment in accordance with the township's procurement policy for the 2026 municipal election. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Not so much a discussion as a comment. The province of Alberta recently held an election out there and they banned automated tallying machines. That's the first province to go complete reversal on that. So I know it's a trend that needs to be addressed by the governments to decide what they're going to do. And we all know what the problem is. There's no law precluding tampering with machines prior to elections, and that's the long and the short of it. I would like to see that happen in this province, but I've been waiting since 2018. But anyway, I'm just throwing a little light onto why some of us, when we had this discussion earlier, were adamant that there's paper ballots. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions about the motion that's at hand? I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Next item. Very exciting motion this evening. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council authorize the acting CAO and the Director of Corporate Services to execute documents to facilitate a change order to renew Depot Operations Agreement number 2024-00-139 after the initial transition term for an additional 3 one-year terms based on annual budget approval, mutual agreement, and successful completion of the initial term and each subsequent renewal. And that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council direct the Operations and Infrastructure Department to proceed with a recycle depot at the Lansdowne landfill site for the collection of recycled materials from non-eligible sources to be funded within the proposed operating budget. And that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council direct the Operations and Infrastructure Department to conduct a financial and operational review of initiating a township-wide curbside collection program for household garbage. Motion is on the floor. Discussion? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship. But through you to our Director of Operations, how much time would it take to come up with all the factual numbers required for curbside pickup?
Through Your Worship, I'm actually going to work backwards on that one. So I spoke with a supplier for delivering a truck. So looking at all of the options, whether, curbside collection would be delivered by a contractor, would be delivered by the municipality, or whether we'd not do it at all. Work backwards on what would take the longest time. And for a garbage truck provider to deliver a truck, we're looking at 100 days minimum. So I think that we need to shoot for having information to you guys before July 1st of next year to allow us sufficient time to tender and be able to purchase a truck in advance of the next season.
Okay. A follow-up question. Are we getting deep in the weeds, so to speak, if we put a questionnaire out with next year's municipal election as to see what the people want? Because this would add expense to the tax bill. There's no question about it.
We don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet.
We don't, because that's why they're asking for the request to
Right.
get the numbers. So we can't say that it will
All
cost
right.
more.
There's
or it won't.
potential for adding expense to the tax bill, but I know there's a lot of things that are not in the expense should we go to curbside pickup. I know the Director of Operation well enough that he would be about 2 light years ahead of me on this statement. We also need to look into electric trucks. Trucks that are going on a frequency basis like this every day, and they're only doing X number of hours. I know that some of the cities are on electric truck pickup now. There should be ample information out there as to the success of these trucks or not. And I would look forward to seeing all of this at some point. Thank you.
So based on what the director indicated as far as having it back to us by July, if it were to be cost prohibitive or what have you, depending on information that comes back from the department, we could then make it a plebiscite if it's done before July, correct, Madam Clerk? So we could. So to the point that you're trying to make, until we have the information, we don't want to make any decision, obviously. But having said that, if it is a borderline decision, we can give it to the residents, whether they want it or not. So depending on how the numbers shake out. Go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. Just an aside from that comment you just made, based on the last X number of years of vote, we're only going to get a response from 35 to 45% of the residents.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Most surveys that you do, and that, like, it's way below like 2% in some cases if you get a 5% response rate. And if you look at the questionnaires that we've sent out, even for recreation, what have you. So I would say that and it could mean that you'd have more people come out and vote too. So it could actually work in meaning that you have more people interested in making their opinion known on the plebiscite as much as making their opinion known as for who to vote for. So anyways, I think it's premature to have that discussion, but if this motion was to pass tonight, it just gives the authority to the staff to gather the information and the data to provide us so that we can have further discussion and then decide where to go from there. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Just wanted to be clear. Go ahead, Councillor Kelman.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I have a question. So what this is asking is that all of the non-eligible sources, churches and daycares and campgrounds, they have to take their recycling to Lansdowne, regardless of where they are in the township. That's correct?
Through Your Worship, that is correct. We've done a cost analysis of what it would cost for us to have these at each depot, and it's about $25,000 per depot for us to have that service. Obviously, it would be a little bit more the further that we get away as well, because trucking is always the higher cost. But our average, we figured about $25,000 per depot.
So follow up. How is that monitored? So how do the wayside attendants know if the person, if the garbage coming in, if it's just in a private vehicle, what the source of, or the recycling, what the source of the recycling is? How do they know that it's coming from a church or from a private residence?
That's a great question, and something that I will have to look into.
Okay, thank you.
Stump the director evening. Anybody else before I go back to Deputy Mayor Fody? Okay, I'll go to Councillor Maybe and then Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, my question was for the industrial, commercial places that are now using the dump and whether they're going to have a facility if we go to curbside to actually take it.
Go ahead.
Thank you, through Your Worship. I don't think that we would be looking to change the how the depots operate for anything outside of the eligible garbage collection. This would be mainly for what the recycling. So in order for a system like this to work, I'll take a step back. You can't have one in isolation of the other. So if we've spoken with CMO, asked this question for about 6 months now, what the feasibility would be for curbside collection. Because most advanced municipalities have gone to curbside collection. It's just overall, it's more cost effective for the residents because they don't have to drive every week to the waste site. So they've indicated that there is an appetite on their side, that they see that it's more cost effective for them to operate it as curbside collection, but you can't do one in isolation of the other because similarly to us not signing an agreement and having them take their recycling to Front of Young, that won't work. Where they bring their garbage to our depot and then take the recycling to another one, everything will end up in the garbage, and vice versa. So if CMO has indicated that they will support it, provided that the municipality would move forward with curbside collection for garbage, and that would mean that our systems would have to align. So if they're not collecting curbside collection for the non-eligibles, then we wouldn't collect curbside for non-eligibles either, because it's the same system. We'd have that problem on the flip scale.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I think I got my answer. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, that was very long-winded.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to our Director of Operations. When I was reading the non-eligible, the only thing I thought jumped off here not mentioned is our own personal parks, like Centennial and Kendricks and Jerry Park. I'm guessing that falls under municipal facilities.
Through Your Worship, no, actually, those are included in the eligible collection.
Are they?
They are. Yes.
Okay, good.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the motion at hand? All those opposed? And it is carried unanimously. Very much look forward to the information that'll come back on that report. Next item is staff reports, Recreation Working Group immediate 1 to 3 year information report. So this report is provided for information only. Just want to make the comment that I'm very pleased to see this committee that is continuing to work robustly and providing information all the time. So kudos to both staff and members of the committee who are working hard to get that forward. Any further questions on that particular report? Okay, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Just some clarification. Under the financial implications, it said that sponsorship packages to fund current and future projects were going to be looked at. So would that include, so on the list here is $65,000 towards a shade structure at Sealy's Bay. So if a community group came forward with a donation to
Kind of like the
Kinda-
viewing platform that
Yeah.
happened in Lyndhurst, yes.
to improve what, you know,
So instead of spending 65, if you brought forward 10, we could do 75?
yeah, exactly.
So that's the
But
question.
that's the question. Thank you.
Would that donation be welcome?
Through your worship, I would think that donations for the municipality would always be accepted.
And just understanding that the structure would have to be built within accordance to municipal standards and regardless of what the want would be. I know that in past, sometimes we've had some challenges with people want a certain thing, but it didn't meet municipal requirements. So we have to build because it's a liability and a risk. So I just want to put that out there. Not that we're turning down any sort of donations, but I just wanted to be very clear. Okay. Okay, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. For any of the items listed that have a high dollar value, is there grants being asked for or submitted anywhere to help fund these?
Director.
Through your worship, absolutely. We are tracking funding opportunities all the time. I just reached out to Grant Match today to set up a meeting with them to start looking at some of these things that we've included in the proposed budget and have it open up that discussion with them to see what opportunities are out there that we can move forward with.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Fode, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to our Director of Operations. I should mention as well, as has been mentioned, this is a great report, by the way, from those of you who worked on this. It's concise and detailed and all the above. With regards to high ticket items, we could do what many municipalities are doing, and that's naming rights. We see it all the time. Who would envision that the Gunnerock or the old Kingston Arena would be referred to as Slush Puppy Place? But here we are. And I think there's a number of very prosperous businesses in our township that would gladly step forward, given the right scenario, and put their name on it for a 10, 15-year period or such, yet to be worked out. But I don't think it's something that should be discarded. I think there's a number of, like, as I said, I think there's a number of businesses, if properly approached and negotiated, that they would do such. And there would be your donation per se. But no, this report was well done. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to information items. Any information items there, Madam Clerk? Oh, no. Okay. Rise and report minutes from committees, working groups, and local boards. So Peer and the Library Board, both minutes from their meetings are there. So any questions for that? We can direct appropriately. Okay. We've got notices of motion. Any notices of motion? Go ahead.
I think somebody should speak up on behalf of the presentation we had here from the Lyndhurst Pickleball Group. That's not a big ask. And if we can keep participation.
On there was two options there.
There was, but
So it depends on what the ask is. Was one of them is not as intense as the
I would take baby steps first.
Okay, so maybe you want to work with the clerk to bring forward a notice of motion regarding the
I
delegation.
think we can. I mean, I think the working group should be tasked with the bigger ask. It should be part of this, but
It is part of that.
It
It
is.
already
No,
is.
I know it is, but I mean, we'll just leave that well enough alone. I'm assuming this group that came tonight was not aware of this presentation.
They referred to it in the presentation.
They did,
but they want it to come forward faster. So that's why I left the discussion to say that we're deliberating budget in the next month or in the next 2 weeks, so that those type of funds that are required to do those sorts of things can be discussed around this table.
Well, we have yet to see what Phil has put before us here as to what's going to come faster. Maybe a lot of things will come slower, but the original ask, the small step, I will work with the clerk in bringing that one forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other notices of motion? No other notices of motion, statement or announcements from councilors. Go ahead, Councilor Maybe. Go ahead, Councilor Lackey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. December 6th, Breakfast with Santa here at Jesse Street, 9 to 11. I'll be participating. December 7th, Lions Santa in the Park on the Sunday. Be doing that from 11 to 2. December 14th, BIA Santa in the Park, 11 to 2. And a large thank you to TLTI for being in the Anarchy Parade. It was a great success, and very thrilled to see any TITL equipment there. And thank you, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, for being on the float. Thank you.
Okay. Any other statements or announcements from councilors? I have Councilor Antoine Hartley. Oh, sorry, Councilor Lackey and then Councilor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Worship, and through you. Here in Lansdowne, it's we've had some great news, some bad news, all in the same deal. The Lansdowne Fresh Mart has been officially sold. The new owners are Rick and Kelly Sawani. They have 2 sons, Sonny and Sam. I believe they're all involved in the business. Sylvan and Yorick Furnitich have owned the store for the last 36 years. They bought it from other family members in 1989. And they've done a great job of looking after our community with great service, great products. I know everybody in our neck of the woods is going to miss them. We wish them well in the next stage of their lives, because as far as I'm concerned, they're pretty young yet, meaning they're my age. Your Worship.
It's all right. I'll take that hit.
Again, I'd like to congratulate the new owners as well as the previous owners on the future.
Okay, Councilor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Your Worship. So great job done by the organizers of the Shop and Hop. It was a wonderful event. I'm sporting a brand new sweater, I'll have you know, from my trip around, as well as a lot of other treasures. It was a wonderful event, and I think they were very satisfied as well. And I didn't get a chance to get to everybody. I think I only made it to 13 of the 19 stops, but I plan on making it to a few more before Christmas time. The Legion, Sillies Bay Legion, is having a community children's Christmas party this Saturday from 1 to 4, and it's being supported by Sillies Bay Area Residents Association, the Lions Club, the Ladies Auxiliary. There'll be Santa and some elves. I think there's a costume waiting for me somewhere. There's crafts, there's cookie decorating, food to purchase, and it's wonderful to see that the community pulling together with all the organizations and they're helping at the Legion to make that a great day for the kids. And congratulations to Sillies Bay, all of it, United Churches, and Lansdowne United Church for thinking outside the box. And as of July 1st, they will be joining forces and form a partnership that will see them. Well, we actually kind of sold our minister 25% of them to Lansdowne, but it's going to be a wonderful opportunity, I think, for our small churches to find a sustainable way forward. And I'm looking forward to building those relationships. So yeah, that's congratulations to them for thinking that through.
Awesome. Go ahead, Krista.
Yeah, thank you. The Rockport Development Group has their annual general meeting Wednesday at 6:30 at the Rockport Rec Hall. I'll be attending, and I'm sure that they would welcome other counselors and community members out as well. Thank you.
Excellent. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Worship, and through you. This past week, Lansdowne lost one of its most noted residents. Bill Bolton had lived on Frederick Street for I don't know how many years, long time. But Bill was better known as a lifelong teacher, but better maybe known locally here as a historian. Bill was also an author, but Bill worked tirelessly for the Historical Society on his own right. He was basically the head of the Historical Society before we had a Historical Society. Bill has donated numerous items to Escott Hall Springfield House. The family brought a number of those items to a Celebration of Life Saturday when they come over to the community building after the service down at the funeral home. And maybe one of the most unique items I saw that day, when Bill helped create the plaques that sit around our township, the one down here at the railway on the top left corner is a picture of a little boy wearing a railway outfit. That's Bill Bolton in that picture himself. He was about 5 or 6 years old in that picture. I found out from his daughter, Bill's father was an engineer on CN Railway, and he had that pair of overalls ordered for Bill to fit. That pair of overalls were dry cleaned and stored until this past week. They had them, they had them on display over here the other day, and they look like they just came from a catalog somewhere or the Eaton store or wherever. They're going to donate those pair of overalls along with a number of other items have yet to be determined when they go through Bill's numerous pieces of history and history, I should say, and memorabilia at the house. And as they jokingly said, it may take us a couple of years to do so, but it's a loss to lose a member of the community so well known as Bill. But he left a legacy, and through Springfield House and Escott Hall and Springfield House, he'll remain a part of our lives for generations yet to come. I also want to thank the teamwork that's taking place through our Department of Operations, namely things such as the new pavement at Rockport. I've driven through there a number of times before, during, and now finished. That's impressive. It's very well done. I know there's other jobs that Tackerberry has done for us, the pathways in Lyndhurst and Sealy's Bay. I haven't made it to the one in Sealy's Bay, nor have I covered the entirety of the one in Lyndhurst yet. The county road project out here on Warburton Road, and now part of Blue Mountain down to Rockfield, has had its first layer completed. I was talking to those men when they were wrapping up last Thursday, and they said that would stay that way till spring when they come back to put the second layer on. But it's nice to see these projects wrapping up as our year is doing the same and before the next budget. And I'll leave the question mark out there for whoever cares to answer it. There's still a few projects not answered yet as to Springfield House, Escott Hall, when the ribbon cutting is for the George Tackerberry home and such. So if anybody has information on those, I'd be keen to hear it. Thank you.
You want to go first with Escott?
Thank you, through your worship. So the Escott Hall and Springfield House, we've encountered some delays with the archaeology study in terms of the Springfield House. So that likely won't happen until 2026. We've spoken with the contractor. They said that, it would require an additional mob in, mob out, and time spent, hotels, et cetera. So they would expect some additional costs. So we haven't had discussions about next steps with that one at this point until we've seen numbers. The Escott Hall, we are moving forward. The walls are being painted, the flooring's being selected. Doors are supposed to be coming, and the elevator lift. All that's supposed to start happening here in the next couple of weeks, with the project estimated to be completed now at the end of January.
So the question that Deputy Mayor Fody has asked is, would we be able to, or at least how I understood it, would we be able to open the Archives Hall, the Escott Rockport Hall, before Springfield House, or do they both have to be done in order to open?
The Springfield House, we haven't really done anything with it on the inside. Structurally, the main floor is secure now, but the hope is to get the archives completely into their building and then come back to council with what are the next steps with the Springfield House. It will be completely vacated at that point. We do have to do some work with the HVAC in there. It's not working correctly. So there's really no air conditioning in that building. But certainly there's some work that needs to be done in there before we move forward.
So we could conceivably have a ribbon cutting for Escott Hall in early 2026.
That is correct. The intent is to get the archives group into the building, situated and comfortable, before we do the grand opening, so that everybody can see what it looks like as a finished product. So yeah, I would expect that springtime would be the ideal time to do the ribbon cutting for that project.
Excellent. So we'll hopefully have something to put on our calendars early in 2026. And so now that I've had time to just double check my phone, the ribbon cutting has not been booked for G-Tackberry yet. There was an issue with flooding that delayed the transition from the contractor handing the county the keys. We have partial occupancy as of a week and a half ago. So the staff are in there and they're training. But what has to happen is that the ministry has to come and commission the building, meaning they have to come in, inspect everything, see the folks in there working, seeing how everything's flowing, making sure they have enough staff, all the other things in order for them to open. So it is proposed, and the hope is that in the beginning of February, we will be cutting the ribbon. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you and to you. So the ministry wants to come and see that everything's working without patients.
Oh, no, it's more just the mechanical systems, the nurse call systems, those sorts of things. They need to test everything mechanically, as well as that the people who are responsible for running them know how to. So it's just because they're just basically coming over across the road. So the good news is that we're staffed. We're short a few bodies as of right now, but we're overstaffed for the existing home because we've upstaffed thinking we would be in the home by now.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword. The good news is that we'll be able to get in there, but the unfortunate incident which caused the water to penetrate the roof and into a brand new building is extremely disappointing that it happened. But it had to be fixed. It had to be fixed right. I'm just grateful it didn't happen when there were humans in there, and there would have been bigger challenges. So, and we caught a couple of extra things that needed to be fixed before they turned the keys over. So the good news is that they are moving as quickly as possible, and that there's the ministry is very much on side with getting this. They want the beds open as quickly as possible. So there'll be no delay from the ministry end.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We also received a delegation so I'll just go right into the mayor's update. We received a delegation from Perth Smith Falls Hospital. Right now, 42% of their patients are waiting for long-term care beds in their hospital. The last time they came, it was 49. So they're actually improving the numbers. And I believe Kingston and Brockville, their numbers are still in the mid-30s, I believe. So we know that there's a number of people looking for these beds, and we're trying to get them online as quickly as possible. Just want to say congratulations to all the parade organizers. So thank you to our own Councillor Maybe, /town crier / parade organizer, and his crew. Always a great time in Gananoque. It was lovely to see so many people out, and such a great evening for weather. It wasn't raining, it wasn't snowing, it was just perfect. So it was quite a lovely evening. Thank you to Deputy Mayor Fody, but specifically thank you to Lyle Stacey, one of our Public Works folks who took the time on a Saturday night along with his daughter and her boyfriend to come out and decorate and get everything out. And I believe Tyler was the one who got the truck ready the evening before. So it was a bit of a team effort, but it's always nice to go and support town of Gananoque. But obviously we've had Lansdowne, we've had Lyndhurst. The Shop and Hop, I heard, was extremely well attended. And I'm really grateful that so many people use that opportunity to go out and see all the different stores in our area and outside of our area for that matter. But the fact that they all work together so well, I'm excited about what they're going to do in the summer with some of their other marketing efforts, which is, I won't, go too far down the rabbit hole on that one. The Economic Development Summit last Friday, a week ago Friday, that was very important for this municipality. There was a over $12 million announcement made by Sam Oosterhoff, Associate Minister for Energy and Connectivity. Out of that amount that was given, a good portion of that is being spent here in this municipality. They are basically plugging the holes or the gaps in the connectivity throughout the entire municipality. They are working very rapidly to get the infrastructure up and running so that they can start looking for clients or customers that are in need of better connectivity regardless of the topography and where they live, which is very important. So I'm extremely proud that after 7 years of talking about connectivity here in the township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands, that for all the work that's been done to actually wire as many people, my parents got their connection, their hardwired connection the other day, and the wires have been hanging on poles for quite some time, and they're working steadily on that. It doesn't happen overnight, but this announcement will be for all those who aren't getting the hardwired connection, that they will have additional options for connectivity, and through a Canadian provider. So, but the Economic Development Summit was a great success. One of the main themes, which I know that maybe some folks who were in attendance probably were like, why does this pertain to me as a small business owner? It was in regards to grid stability. We had the folks from IESO there explaining to us about what they're doing for a survey to try to better understand what the power needs are. I've had to learn this all myself in the last, not all myself, but I've had to learn this through sort of osmosis with other folks who've done a lot more digging than I have. We have all the power in the world. We do not have a grid that is stable enough to actually use it. And the challenges are immense for the large businesses that want to grow and employ more of our family, friends, and neighbors. The one business owner, Greenfield Ethanol, got up and said that they lose $1 million every time the power goes down in the plant. Last year, it was over $28 million they lost because it went down 28 times. So that, from a business perspective, is not acceptable. But moreover, we have businesses like Greenfield and HFI Pyrotechnics that are further east of here that want to expand, and they can't. And let's be honest, there's lots of people who live in this township and drive a half an hour, 40 minutes that way to work, no different than going to Kingston. We're right smack in the middle. And so it's important because all the small business owners, the Shop and Hop folks, those people that work at those businesses are the ones that go out there on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday afternoon and spend their money and support our small businesses in our communities. So it's very important that we all row this boat in the same direction. MPP Steve Clark has been very much vocal about this, and now the study has been moved up 7 months, which I'm very grateful, because it will still take time for us to get the grid up to a certain level that will be able to handle the amount of power. We also had the Minister of Small Business there, Minister Tangri, who was here earlier in the summer talking about small business with our summer company folks. And this is going to be a shameless plug for Starter Company and Starter Company Plus and Summer Company. If you have a business that you are looking to grow and scale, Starter Company Plus might be an option for you. If you would like to start a business in the municipality, Starter Company might be for you. If you have a young person, and I believe it's 15 to, I'd have to get the ages, 15 to 30. It goes quite high for Summer Company, where they're looking to create you to get help to create a business. Each one of these programs has a grant that comes with them. So you get so much upfront to help start your business and create a business plan and get mentors for marketing, accounting, coaching, all sorts of things. And then once you complete the program, you get this other amount. And I believe it's $5,000. And for the Summer Company, I think it's 3. 15. Thank you. You just looked that up for me. Thank you. But I cannot stress enough that these programs that are available to anybody here in the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville, including TLTI residents, is such a valuable program because it really helps build confidence, get you on stable footing so that you can apply for funding from Community Futures or the bank or whatever, in order to make sure that your business can either establish itself or grow, or figure out if entrepreneurialism is for you. The Summer Company was pretty incredible. One of the kids made $20,000 in 2 months, literally cleaning cars. It was phenomenal. Created his own car cleaning business. So, yeah. And so that's why the Economic Development Summit is always really great. We also have the Bill Thake Award, which was awarded to Brian Purcell, who's from Spencerville, who I have actually gotten to know over the years because he's in the insurance business, but that is secondary to what he does in the community. And Brian has always been a very dedicated, community-minded person, which is what the Bill Thake Award is all about. So, did I miss anything that's coming up? Oh, tree lighting in Lansdowne, I believe, is Friday. Thank you. And oh, yes, Rideau Canal is upcoming 200-year anniversary. So they are going to be doing a number of projects. There is also going to be an assembly of villages, towns along the Rideau that are going to hopefully be part of delegating to the feds in regards to getting additional funds put together. We need to be very vocal about the LaSalle Causeway and what havoc that is wreaking on businesses, towns, and homes along the Rideau Canal. So more to come on that. I know that Mayor Robin Jones, along with the contact from Rideau Canal, were supposed to let us know when they might be convening a meeting, and I will let the rest of council know. Other than that, okay, that's everything. So we have no closed session this evening, so we'll move right on to adjournment. And then the motion comes forward from Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that council adjourn at 7:57. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Thank you, folks.